Good day everyone, my name is Starsky. I'm Ukrainian National Guardian, blogger and war hipster. This blog used to be my personal blog dedicated to my glorious Rapid Response Brigade of the National Guard of Ukraine, but from now on it will serve the purpose of informing international community on the ongoing Russian aggression in Ukraine. Today is the 18th day of the war. The Russians planned to finish this war in just 3 days, but obviously they failed. And the reason number one is that their propaganda played bad trick on themselves, because they anticipated a fast, victorious war in Ukraine, supported by grateful Ukrainian citizens, greeting Russian tanks with flowers and apple pies for overthrowing a Nazi regime of President Zelensky. In reality, they faced an extraordinary resistance from Ukrainian people protecting their homeland. And of course, Jewish Ukrainian President Zelensky was kind of wrong person to call Nazi. Is there a chance for Ukrainian army to win this war? Of course there is. As for today, almost 30% of Russian army is not combat worthy due to high casualties, either destroyed by Ukrainian army completely or sustaining heavy casualties. In just 2 weeks of invasion, Russians have lost almost 12,000 men, which is much more than in both Chechen wars. To date, Ukrainian army had destroyed 374 tanks, 1,226 armored vehicles, 140 artillery systems, 62 MLRS, 74 airplanes, 86 helicopters, and 3 Russian ships. Plus, we are capturing a lot of Russian POWs, and I mean a lot, including Russian pilots downed over Ukrainian cities. Also, Ukrainian army managed to neutralize a bunch of Russian high-ranked officers like generals, including the general of notorious Kadyrov's Spetsnaz from Chechnya, which turned out to be rather magazine cover boys than an actual military power. Ukrainian casualties as of yesterday reached 1,300 men. And as for our vehicles and tanks, instead of losing them, in fact we're slowly growing their numbers due to a high amount of Russian vehicles and tanks being captured by Ukrainian army on a daily basis. As for the aviation, unfortunately we are unable to rapidly increase the number of our airplanes, while our aviation, our strike aviation, including UAVs, is one of our primary tools in this war. As you may have already seen in the news reports, Russians used to bomb and shell a lot of civilian infrastructure in Ukraine, trying to bring chaos and demoralize our troops, which doesn't work. But unfortunately it results in numerous lives of civilians being lost. This is why our biggest request from NATO countries is to close the sky over Ukraine using their anti-air measures. Of course they won't do that, which is really sad, because every day a lot of Ukrainian kids and women are getting killed by Russian aviation, and this could be stopped today. Since Russians didn't expect this operation to take so long, they dramatically lack supplies of food and ammunition as well as fuel. Yesterday they received an order to supply themselves, which means they are given a carte blanche to rob and torture our civilians in order to feed their troops. On the other hand, Ukraine receives a lot of supplies and plenty of ammunition from our Western colleagues, including the volunteers willing to fight for Ukrainian freedom. In case you are one of them, please visit this video to find 5 exact steps to join the International Defense Legion of Ukraine. A lot of foreign volunteers from the US, Canada, United Kingdom and other countries are already fighting on behalf of Ukraine, helping our people to defend us from Russian terrorists. So what about the international response to Russian invasion in Ukraine? Currently, Russia is facing multiple sanctions that have shut down their import and export, and in the nearest future Russia is risking to turn into a bigger version of North Korea. Before the war, Russians managed to pump up the reserve funds as big as $600 billion, but due to the sanctions, half of this amount was frozen in the Western banks, and hopefully those money soon will be transferred to Ukraine to rebuild our cities after the war is finished. Russia has lost the support of huge international banks and financial institutions, vehicle manufacturers, etc. All those factors will disable Russia's ability to produce new weapons, tanks, aviation and missiles. But will it stop Russia? Unfortunately, it won't, because Russia has numerous troops and enormous amount of weapons like shells and missiles stored on the territory of Russia. Being unable to reach any of his military goals, Putin is not going to stop until his defeat is obvious to pretty much everybody. Before it happens, he's going to involve Libyan and Syrian mercenaries as well as his reserves from Armenia and other countries to spill even more Ukrainian blood, which is not going to help him in the end. Stay tuned. Operator Starsky over and out.